This is the Confidence Academy podcast. My name is Lilli Babcock and I am a transformational confidence coach, and I'm here with a message for you. The anxiety and overwhelm you've been experiencing is not something to be feared or avoided. It's also not something that gets to define who you are as a person. No matter who you are, no matter what your story is, I know that you get to live a life of fulfillment and joy. It's my absolute pleasure to bring this podcast series to you in collaboration with some phenomenal people from all over the world who have walked the same path as you. Together, we will share our stories, our challenges, and our triumphs with the intention of helping you to see that it's possible for you too. Anxiety may be something you live with, but it doesn't get to define who you are or how you live your life. So stand by for some powerful conversations, deep realizations, and the occasional F-bomb. So get those headphones in if you're around sensitive ears, and stand by. This is going to be fun. Hi everyone, it's Lilli Babcock here, and I am here to relaunch this podcast for you. So this podcast first came out in November of 2017, and it came out to such an amazing response. So many of you downloaded the episodes. Since that time, I've had countless emails, countless messages from people from all around the world who have wanted to get in touch to let me know just what this podcast has done for them. And I want to be honest though, like in the last year or so, I allowed myself to get so overwhelmed and so bogged down with the whole idea of having this podcast. And I allowed those thoughts to consume everything I was doing, and the end result has been that I haven't put a new episode out for months. So first off, I want to apologise. And second off, I want to let you know, don't worry. If you've been loving this podcast so far, then we're back and we're here to stay. So I could talk for so long about the different ways that I procrastinated around this. You'll notice that for about 5 minutes I even changed the name of it. We've now changed back because all of that was just me getting in my own head, making up reasons as to why I wasn't invested in it, why I wasn't showing up for it. And I mean, I could literally sit here for hours and dig into the reasons why I think that was the case. But the bottom line is, I know that the stories and the messages that are being shared here on this podcast are powerful. I know that the episodes that we share are so needed by the people that hear them. And I've got a whole stack of episodes right now that have been sat on my computer that have not seen the light of day. And I know that somebody out there needs to hear them. So this is the official relaunch. And thank you if you're still here. And if you're new here, hello and welcome. You'll get used to me very, very quickly. But I wanted to kick this all off with 10 things I wish I'd known when I was diagnosed with Generalised Anxiety Disorder. Because I remember how it felt when I was being handed the diagnosis and a million things filled my head, a million thoughts. And the very first thing I can remember thinking was, oh, well, that's my whole life is about to change. You know, all the things I thought I was going to do, the person I thought I was going to be, all of that has now fallen away. It's not going to be possible. And now I have to rebuild my life as a person with anxiety. And I really, truly thought that was real. I really believed that was true. And so there are 10 things I've listed out now that I wish I'd known in that moment, because it would have fast forwarded me to the place that I'm at right now, which is still a person that, I mean, presumably I still have GAD. I don't know if you ever get to a point where you don't have it, but I'm certainly, and full disclosure, I'm definitely still somebody that suffers with the symptoms of GAD. I definitely still feel my anxiety coming up at times. I definitely still recognize that it's part of who I am at times, but it no longer has the power over me that it once did. And so I've listed out these 10 things in the hope that it might help you, so that no matter where you are at on your current journey with anxiety, maybe something I'm about to say will help you to see that you're not alone, that there is hope, and that the dreams and the wishes that you hold in your heart are still yours. Nobody gets to change that. Nothing gets to change that. So, number one is that anxiety is nothing to be ashamed of. I just remember feeling so ashamed when they told me I had anxiety. I just was like, oh, that can't be true. I don't want to be one of those people. And that's all around the stigma we have around mental health, around anxiety, depression, stress, whatever label you want to give it. There was such a stigma, and there is still such a stigma about people that suffer from those things. So my gut reaction was, I don't want to be one of those people. But I wish I'd known that actually anxiety is nothing to be ashamed of. And actually, the more that I've embraced it and the more open I've been about my own journey, the more I've realized that really, I wasn't alone. And that sounds like such a cliche, but ultimately, almost everybody in my life has suffered with anxiety in some way, shape, or form. Now, I want to be really clear. There's definitely a distinction. There's definitely a difference between feeling anxious because of a reason and having anxiety, which can crop up at any time with no, seemingly no reason whatsoever. I want to make that distinction. But no matter what it is you're feeling anxious about, no matter what it is that's brought you here to this podcast, I want you to know right here, right now, there's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. And actually, this shame and the perception you may have around anxiety may hinder your ability to overcome it and to get around it or through it. So that's number one. Number two, there is no identity. There is no set identity for the kind of person that has anxiety or that suffers in this way. There just isn't. I have generalised anxiety disorder when I'm at my most anxious and also when I'm at my most happy and relaxed. Like GAD is just something that's part of me. But there's no identity. There's no particular way that I look. And actually, I shared a post just yesterday because it was World Mental Health Day. And I just decided to screenshot as many photos of myself as I could possibly get into one post. Because the truth is, anxiety is possible for me on any given day, in any given circumstance, regardless of who I'm with, how much money I have in my bank, what job I'm doing that day, how much time I've spent with or without my children, how much time I've spent with or without my husband, how much time I've spent with or without my friends or my family. Like it really doesn't discriminate. And that might seem like something obvious to say, and especially if you're somebody that has it yourself, but perhaps there are people listening who don't have anxiety or that don't suffer with it in this way, and you're here because you want to help someone that's in your life. Well, let me tell you, the number one thing I've heard in response to me admitting that I suffer in this way is people going, oh, but you seem so happy. Oh, but you're so blessed. But, they have a million reasons as to why they don't think I should have anxiety. The number one thing I remember people saying to me is, but you have so much to be grateful for, as if it was a choice. Anxiety isn't a choice. People don't wake up in the morning and choose to feel anxious. People are not waking up in the morning and choosing to believe a certain set of rules or to feel a certain way. Now, there's definitely choice involved. You can definitely choose to stay in that space or to move beyond it. And I frequently, almost daily, choose to move beyond it. But you don't choose to be someone that has anxiety. It can literally come up and grab you at any point. And in my experience and from the people that I work with, it's actually the people that are living these blessed lives. It's the most talented people. It's the people that have the most going for them that seem to be the most at risk. And I think that's just because there's such a stigma around it. And there's such an expectation of ourselves and of the people that are around us when we are hugely talented or, flying high or doing really well in a job or in school or whatever it may be. Without even realizing, we build up this expectation of ourselves, and then we put that expectation on everyone around us, and we just start to tell ourselves that people expect us to be different. People expect us to do better. And there is no identity. So that's number 2. Number 3, I wish I'd known that I'm surrounded by people who get it. I can remember an early panic attack when I was searching through my phone for somebody to call, because I did at least recognise that I needed to reach out. But I very quickly convinced myself that there was nobody in my circle, even my wide circle, that I could go to, because I just didn't think they'd get it. I really didn't think they'd understand. I thought I'd be judged. I thought I'd be ridiculed. And actually, I just thought people wouldn't believe me for some of the reasons I stated in the last point. I just thought, because of who I was, because of everything I had going for me, I just thought people aren't going to believe that I'm suffering with this. They're not going to believe that it's real. They're going to think it's a cry for help. They're going to think that I'm attention seeking. And ultimately, they're not going to be able to help. So what's even the point? But I wish I'd known that actually the truth was, I'm surrounded by people who get it. And I'm surrounded by people who are falling over themselves to reach out a hand back to me, because I've been there for them when they've needed it. So if you're there right now feeling like nobody around you is going to understand, that nobody around can help you, please know that that is some bullshit you're telling yourself. And there's no judgment when I say that. We legitimately have a part of ourselves that likes to make it hard. Like we like to tell ourselves that there is no one to help, that our bum does look big in that outfit, that we're never going to get any better. There's just that part of us that does that. But it's bullshit. Hashtag bullshit. Since I've been on this podcast, there are a few phrases that I've been known for saying, and hashtag bullshit or hashtag bollocks is definitely one of them. You know, do not buy into the belief for one more second that there isn't someone around you that can understand. In the very least, know that I understand. So if all else fails, reach out and speak to me, because I 100% get it. The next point number 4, is that it only holds the meaning that I give it. So it being anxiety. Anxiety only holds the meaning I give it. It only holds the power that I give it and that you give it. It really doesn't have the power to do or be anything unless you decide that it has that power. And I'm just going to leave that there. There's so much I could say around that. But just stop for a second and think, right, what power am I giving my anxiety right now? How many times a day do you say, oh, I do that because of my anxiety, or things are this way because of my anxiety? It's just not true. But if you believe it's true, it becomes true. Does that make sense? If you think it's true, then it's true. So just play around with some different beliefs for a minute. What if it didn't have that power? What if you actually had the power all along? Then what would be true? And have a little think about that for a second. Point number 5, this is a good one. I don't have to be free of it to be happy. There were so many times in the early days where I would just scream out loud, or even say to myself, I just wish I didn't have it. Like, if I didn't have anxiety, then I could be happy. If I didn't have anxiety, then I could ... fill in the blank. And that goes back to the point before. It doesn't have the power to give or take anything from you. It only has the power you give it. And you certainly don't need to be free of anxiety before you get to feel fulfilled, before you get to feel happy. Now, in my experience, and this is my experience, and I'm not saying that this is a blanket statement for everybody, but in my experience, my anxiety was worse when I lost sight of who I was and why I'm here. My anxiety got worse when I forgot that I'm a divine human, or a divine soul, I should say, in a human body. When I forgot that my life has meaning and that I get to enjoy it. It doesn't matter if a doctor or anyone else has given me a piece of paper saying, you have anxiety now. My life still has meaning. My life still gets to be phenomenal. Now, this podcast wouldn't exist if I hadn't been diagnosed with anxiety. Or maybe it would, who knows. But all I know is my journey around anxiety and my search for ways to feel better led me to starting this podcast. So you do not have to be free of it before you get to be happy. Point number 6, there is always a plan and I'm always okay. And you are too. And again, these points are just bleeding one into the other, but there was always a plan and I was always okay. I just didn't know it at the time. The times where I felt my most anxious, and even now, the times where I feel my most anxious, are most definitely the times where I forget that that's true. And in those moments, I think I'm alone. And in those moments, I think there's no plan. And in those moments, I think that I am not supported and that I'm not loved. And it just isn't true. It just isn't true at all. There is always a plan and I'm always okay, and you are as well. So when you come back to the faith of that, the anxiety starts to lift and you do start to feel better. You start to see clearer. Point number 7 is that medication is okay. Now, when I was given my medication, I didn't want it. I didn't want it at all. And I immediately set the intention that I would be off the medication within 6 months. Now, I did achieve that, and okay, that's good, but it's not a badge of honour. And in all honesty, because I set that time scale for myself, I don't think I came off the medication in the best possible way, and I put myself at risk as a result of doing that. The thing is, the medication allowed me to get my footing. The medication allowed me to reset back to neutral. And I was no longer in that place where I was fighting to just feel human. So the medication allowed me that breathing space and that clarity. So this is not a statement of you should go on medication, and nor is it a statement of you should come off your medication. I guess I'm just saying that you are going to be okay. You get to be supported, and you get to be supported in the way that you feel is best for you. If you feel like medication is the way to go, you absolutely get to do that. There's no shame. I think the stigma there is almost the same stigma that there is around having pain relief for having a baby. You know, so many people, and I've done this myself, but so many people will have a baby and then they'll come out going, I had a baby and I had no pain relief whatsoever. Hooray for me. Like, look how strong and powerful I am. Yeah, it does empower you. Yes, it's possible. Yes, it's brilliant. But guess what? I also had a baby with an epidural, because at that point, it absolutely was not possible for me to do it any other way. Guess what? I have 3 amazing children, and they are all amazing. It doesn't matter whether one came with medication and whether one came without. And it's the same for you. You are amazing. You are phenomenal. Whether you are managing your anxiety purely in a holistic way, or whether you are managing your anxiety purely in a medicated way, and for all of you who are doing it in a combined way, the point is, you were already amazing. Like, your decisions around that do not make you any more or less amazing than the next person, or any more or less amazing than the person you were before you made that call, you know? So medication is absolutely okay, and not being on medication is also absolutely okay. This is all about you standing back in your own power. You get to make the best decisions for yourself, and I trust you to make those decisions, and you can trust yourself to make those decisions. Point 8, there are multiple ways to manage. Again, this bleeds in from the point before. There are multiple ways to manage. It's not about one type of medication or one type of, modality or program or anything like that. There are multiple ways that you get to manage your anxiety, and you get to find the best way for you. I hope that through this podcast, you will find all the different ways that other people have found a way to cope, and that you will find all the different ways that people manage to overcome and get through their own struggles. Point number 9, it has no power over my dreams or my desires. It has no power over your dreams and your desires. It just doesn't. You are always in control. You always have the power, and the dreams and the wishes of your heart are meant for you. No amount of anxiety, stress, overwhelm, depression can rob you of your potential to be the most amazing version of yourself. And number 10, I wish I'd known that it was going to be the absolute making of me. I thought when they told me I had anxiety that that it meant that I'd failed as a human and that I couldn't be the person that I always knew I was going to be. Hi, Sophia. I wish I'd known it was going to be the absolute making of me, because in my quest to find a better way and in my quest to feel better, I have created such a phenomenal existence for myself, not just through my business, but through the way I show up as a mum, through the way I show up as a friend, through the way I show up in every area of my life. And I wish I'd known that I could trust it to do that for me. So I hope that those 10 points have been helpful for you. Oh, and now I'm bringing Sophia into the mix. Sophia is on almost every podcast episode that ever was, ever since she was born. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for bearing with me. And I'm so excited to share the episodes that I still have for you. So do stay tuned. Thank you for being here. Please reach out if you have any questions or any feedback at all on any of these episodes. And actually, if you're someone that has an amazing story yourself that you'd like to share with everyone that listens to this podcast, then get in touch, because I'd love to have you on as a guest. Sending lots of love. Mwah. Be back soon. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved it, please make sure you subscribe and leave us a comment over on iTunes to make sure you never miss an episode. And for additional resources, masterclasses with our guest experts, and weekly live coaching with me, why not join us as a member of the Lilli Club? You can find all of the details in the show notes of this episode. In the meantime, thank you again, and we'll be back soon. Big love.